What's up? We are live. Let me refresh and make sure we are good to go. All right, looks good and should sound good. Let me see who is here. Before we start, though, the B, he's a busy man. So today, Mr. Hacks, Lone Wolf, we'll be talking about 5 tips to growing your business during uncertain times. And the reason why I wanted to talk about this is emails, DMs. Seems like I'm getting a lot more of I don't know, kind of like different questions that I normally wouldn't get when it comes to finding items and reselling them, things like that. Usually, when we get things, it's kind of like, hey, do your own research. People say it all the time, like, hey, should I buy this? Should I do that? But people that have been selling for quite a while, even asking certain questions that I'm kind of like, is the fact that we're a little slower right now, the store is a little drier, making people kind of question things a little bit more. Maybe not a bad thing, but I want to talk about some things that we could look deeper into that could help your business. And especially right now, with we have no clue what's going to happen, and some other details in there as well. So let me see who is here. The man, misinformation in hand. What up? Astro Drip. Rest in peace, Kobe. Happy birthday, Kobe. Tomorrow, 8/24. Wear your jerseys or anything Kobe gear. Patrick, what's up? Brian, how was sourcing today, Brian? I saw you earlier. Let me see. We can hear you. We can see you. Demand misinformation. Appreciate that. Double jump. What up? Sue Huskins. Pacers 305. Manny Fresh. All right. Get this out of the way. Let me see. AN. What's up? Before we start, though, in the chat, let me know, how was your weekend? Sourcing or selling? How was it out there? And selling wise, it's been pretty consistent for August. We're right there. September, which crunch time, ready to go. We know October, it's going to come up quick. And another reason why, too, while you're answering that question, why I wanted to touch this, man, I went to Nike Outlet on Friday. Disgusting sight. I've never seen it this dry, this empty. You know how many comments I get and DMs, where's the Nike gear? I'm going to Ross, I'm going to Burlington, I'm going to Marshalls. I don't see Nike gear anywhere. I don't see Nike shoes. I'm not even finding the jackets that you're finding. Nike Outlet isn't even getting Nike. And first we were kind of joking around. Big money Mo, he's always gonna find stuff. But at this point, I was like, a little worried for what is the outlet even going to have for the next coming months leading up to Q4. And even some of the people I was talking to, some of the workers, one of the workers was like, honestly, maybe not getting anything until summer of next year, as far as like filling up the aisles like they once were. Because I might even have to do Nike Outlet video for the Fridays video just to show you guys how bad this is. Only like one or two main racks there in the men's section actually had shoes. Everything else was either empty. They added some like sweatpants, things like that in the men's section just to kind of fill up space. Backpacks, of course, are taking up like 2 full rows, 2 full aisles. Never seen it like this. Let me go back into the chat and see Thrifty Monday. Let's see ETC host. Yo, BKK. Sourcing Dookie selling has been decent, says Brian. See Adriana, what's up? How's it going out there? Many fresh sales were good. Sourcing was bad. Weekend was slow and boring. AN. See Tommy Bernard podcast. See, I'd like to know your favorite item at Taco Bell. Let me see. Have to go with bean burrito. Keep it safe. Kevin, what's up? Thrift and flip. Decent sourcing, not so good on sales. So many empty shelves at the outlet, says Brandon. Let me go back up. Still able to pay the bills and rent, thankfully. Astro Drip. I know Astro Drip, you have plenty of inventory. So good stuff too, which is always helpful. So that'll help you for the next couple of months. Let me see. Just found out JC Penney doesn't even sell Nike anymore. I know they had a lot of lower end stuff, JC Penney shoes, and also kind of like basic tees and shorts, cowboy stuff too, at least in my area. How should we prepare for potential lockdowns and shipping delays, etc.? We're going to talk about that too. Says Pacers, asks Pacers, but I have that in my notes. We're going to talk about it. Let me see. I think we'll have to find new ways to source online for next year or so, says Steve. And you can already start, sourcing online. A lot of people have already been getting into that, whether that is buying on eBay and reselling on other platforms, buying on Mercari, buying on Nike, using some of those coupons. And I want to talk about that too down the road. Like when it comes to that, a lot of the online sourcing is a big capital game, though. You're spending 120, you're spending 140, and you're hoping to resell like a Vapormax Plus or things like that for 200, 220, 240. So you're spending quite a bit, but you're also hoping to make quite a bit and, making $60, $70 profit on it. But if you don't have the capital to do it, you're going to be running behind. And I'm not going to sit here and promote getting all the credit cards and doing all this. If you can't handle credit cards or know what you're doing, you're going to get in real trouble there. Not paying certain things or hoping items are going to sell so you can pay that back. That's like a totally different thing. But we'll run into that on my notes. What's up, Armand? What's up, Sneaker Pickers? Fast Eddie. Sue Huskins, article say Vietnam extended lockdown until August 1st. Could still be locked down. Who knows? Yes, I did see. I'm going to read that too. An article that I did see today. Let me see. Josh Brown, what up? Let's see. Deborah Mento, cheers. Ross Boss, Price Assassins. What's good? Broadway B. Some sales over the weekend. eBay and Goat sourcing is eh. Let me see. By the way, Oreos on fire, man. Jordan 4 is a new Jordan 1. Jordan 4s, they're skyrocketing out there. Let me see. Are we going to talk about the Off-White drop? Hit 6-yard sales, nothing. Double jump in, seeing a few Nike shoes recently, so it should be a good sign. So it could be coming back. All right, more people coming in, and I'm going to ask questions throughout the live so we can kind of bounce that feedback, answer questions, help each other out. So let's get into it. 5 tips to growing your business during uncertain times. Let's start off with, why are things uncertain right now? Number 1, we know virus, which we're not going to cover more of that. We already know. We've been in this for over a year and a half, and now there's variants and things like that. So we know that was our main source. Second one, stores are dry, but why are they dry? So ports are backed up. They're not getting inventory on time. Even to ship some of these containers has doubled up in price. And workers. I mean, there's a lot of stores, a lot of companies that don't even have enough workers to ship out some of the items. So that's also been a huge delay in this. And number 3, inflation and how people are going to spend their money, how they're spending their money now, how they're going to spend their money going forward for the next 3-4 months, which is huge for us, especially in 2020. Big Q4, big money, a lot of people sourcing online. They're not getting out there. They're not, risking and being crowds and things like that. So that was big for online sales. Personally, I predict huge online sales for this year because stores are, and not only Nike Outlet. I know we were talking about that in the beginning, but like my parents, they like to go to like Kohl's and those type of stores. And my mom was like, "Man, Kohl's doesn't have anything." And I'm like, I've been to Kohl's in a long time, but I figured they don't have a lot of inventory either. But talking to some of the Amazon sellers that sell a lot of toys for Q4, Christmas time, things like that, they source Target and Walmart and Big Lots and a lot of these similar, toy stores, things like that. Well, stores that have newer toys and things like that also don't have a lot out there. So some of them are also kind of struggling, like, where do I kind of pivot? if you don't have, let's say, some of the sources that other people have and getting inventory coming in. But even straight up working with suppliers, things are late and there's no guarantee you're even going to get things on time. Let me see. Cole's still open. Cole's be taxing. Double jump. Josh Brown. Miles, what's up? Retrospective gear. What's good? Let's see. Deborah JK. Ross Boss. Appreciate that. Fly Kicks. What up? Love your YouTube videos. Sneaker Pickers. Thank you for that. Fellow art and advertising graduate here in NYC. Thanks for the comment and for watching. Let me say, I noticed Marshall's clearance was very limited this yellow tag season. Very true. Adriana, we did see Cole Haans, things like that, off-season things down to yellow tag, and then went pretty quick, I would say. Steve, I heard massive toy shortage coming because shipping containers went from 5K to 20K. And that's also one of the articles that I did read. And one of the suppliers I work with, he was like, I get a lot of like Nike stuff that's like without box, things like that, even brand new clothing and things. And he's he's like super worried, like, I don't know what's happening here because yeah, the containers thing and costs way more now. Prepare for the worst, everyone. AN should boycott Burlington for ripping us off with those prices, says Pacers. So those are the three things why it's kind of uncertain. Going back into the container part. So a vast network of ports, container vessels, and trucking companies that move goods around the world are badly tangled. The cost of shipping is skyrocketing. So that's troubling news for retailers and holiday shoppers, as this article says. Let me see. The disruption to global supply chains is getting worse. Shortages of consumer products, making it more expensive for companies to ship goods where they're needed. And it says here, more than likely, shoppers will face higher prices and fewer choices this holiday season. Companies such as they have Adidas, Crocs, Hasbro, Mattel are already warning disruptions as they prepare for a crucial year-end period. And this one was pretty interesting. Or was it here? The chances of your vessel arriving on time were about 40% when it was about 80% this time last year. So we've clearly seen that. Late shipments coming in. And there's another one here. I think it said one of the suppliers or one of the companies said that more than likely they're not going to see things get back to normal until January or February of 2022. I'm trying to see where that was, but I read it a little bit earlier. So here's the thing: is I when I saw Brian earlier too, if you're steady, you're building up inventory, you're not necessarily giving things out either. And I think you're going to be set when, once November, December come around, because they're going to be shopping online. Who is going to have that inventory? If you have that inventory, you're going to win and come out on top, and you'll have the capital, and hopefully things by then start to clear up a little bit better January, February. Let me see which market. Oh, Peter, what's up? My Walmart has tons, just no employees to unbox. Interesting, Sue Huskins. Took pics of boxes everywhere, every aisle. Also help wanted signs every box. That is crazy. Let me see. Burlington, NYC are dry right now. Inventory is non-existent at stores. Only reason I have inventory is due to buying like crazy in 2018 through 2020 before shutdown. So you're telling me buy every toy at Ross, says AN. That's one of the things I have on here as far as like mixing it up and trying things out. I mean, especially those are like past season toys, but getting in early, could benefit down the road, because I have a feeling almost like we saw with backpacks. Like, I don't know, remember, school was starting up. We saw backpacks, you had things on the videos. We saw backpacks in IG. What some of my Rosses, they're like down to like a handful of backpacks. Remember, we had full rows of them at Ross, and then now they're down to a handful of them. I think once people start getting like late into the game, they really want to start getting things, and then it's too late. Of course, they're gonna overspend and wherever they can get it, type of thing. Every time I go to Ross, there's people there buying 4 to 5 luggages. Must be a hot item right now to sell. for sure. Buy every Lego, they always go up. That's very true. Price assassins. All right, so let's go to number one. 5 tips to growing your business during uncertain times. Number one, focus on learning. We want to get away from the negative stuff. We know things are delayed. We already explained all of that, but let's focus on learning. What are some new ideas, some new brands, some new things to get into? Besides the B, there's other people that I know that are just killing it on Converse and Adidas outlet and other outlets besides Nike that they're getting like insane deals. And unfortunately, my outlet doesn't have the same deals or even the same type of products as other people do, but crazy stuff like buy one, get one, or I'm like, how's this even happening right now in some of the stores? But learning new ideas, new products, new brands that maybe you didn't really research before. We've seen this with Doc Martens. People that never really used to pick them up and they saw the success from other sellers, which I know you're in the chat. You've sold them before. And now they're like, all right, you know what? Yeah, they're $60. Yeah, I have capital. I'm doing my research. I know these can sell well. You're making, you sold one for 150, 180, 200. I know Brian, Brian sold one on here too. I think Poshmark did well. Other people doing well on Doc Martens that they never picked up before. And that's on you doing the research, focusing on new brands, that you pass by. Same with polo jackets. Polo jackets, Ross never really had some of the high-end jackets that were there selling for 200, 300. And they're picking up for 49, 59, 99, I think was the highest one that we saw. That's another example. Another thing you can probably try to mix in, which everything starting off slow, you're not just jumping into whatever, seasonal items, Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas. I know a seller that just does extremely well, like Halloween only. That's like his main thing. And a lot of the cheaper stuff, Ross, Marshalls, when it comes to like some more like a hard goods and that kind of thing, does extremely well. Now, may not be something you're interested in. You can start off slow, start doing the research, things like that, mixing it in. You're at the store anyway, looking for the same items that you always have been. Why not try to throw in some of that kind of stuff? Women's section. I know I really don't show a lot of the women's section on the channel, but yes, there's higher end women's jackets, polo jackets, Nike jackets, active wear too, that people are definitely going to want to pick up. So that's also the biggest section at the stores that we go to. So if you're not looking at that, you should and see what's there. And last, toys. Ross usually gets, a bunch of toys as we get closer to October, November. This year could be different. We don't know. But if you're starting now, being in August, we're going into September, I think you can get a leg up on a lot of other sellers and have some inventory in stock that could do well for you down the road. So something to also look into and starting to do the research now. Baker Brand, appreciate that. Hit that like button. Only 21 likes. Baker Brand in the house. Let me see. This is setting up a perfect storm for Q4. Stores will be empty. Shoppers will be forced online, which I totally agree. That's what we saw, a huge spike. I mean, 2019 was great. 2020 was even better. I think this year, online sales, ready to go. You're going to be doing good. Thrift and flip, think seasonal. Exactly. So we talked about that too. Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas. They have, a bunch of stuff coming out. Kent, what's up? Yep, Q4 is going to be good. TS Kicks. I passed by Doc Martens store at the mall. There was a line to get in, man. Josh Brown, it sucks. I don't have any outlet stores in my city. We're getting an Under Armour outlet soon. I'll have to try that. We're going to be selling belts by the end of the year. AN. Ross Toys are fire. Q4. H Family Finds. Let me see. S. Dot. C says I've aged. Look at this smile. How's he aged? Let's see. There's a veteran Ross employee in my area. She tells me she doesn't even know what's going on. I think that's how we all are right now. R&J Funky Finds. Let's go Q4. Sneaker pickers. Stores are dry. Lots of online buying right now. What up, Trackstar? And Nathan, my eBay has been killing it lately, selling stuff that I couldn't move for a year. That's good too. Get those death piles, or even, sell similar. Take new photos if you have to. That's kind of crazy though, how like some stuff that was lost into the abyss has now come back and people are looking for certain items. All right, number 2. It's going to help you. Cut unnecessary costs. Reevaluate what you're spending your money on. Let's start off with the small things. Small things, I would say, supplies. We talked about printers and labels and things that people use. We talked about boxes. We talked about tape, other things outside of, buying inventory, the things we use, reevaluating how can I get the best price on these items that I need to run the business. Same thing with gas. Gas has gone up. So I guess, do you have the most cost effective sourcing route? Are you trying to make the best of the time you have and the sourcing, and of course the vehicle to make sure you're not burning a bunch of money on this for things that aren't really out there? Shipping. Some of us offer free shipping. We know shipping is going to go up Q4. That's where we're going to start very soon. We talked about it on the live show, how padded flat rate, I think, is going to go up 75 cents. And then first class packages, those are going up. I think that's going to be the most. And not only that, but they're also going to be a lot slower to get to the buyer. So that's how they're screwing us both ways. It's like, all right, let's hike up the price. And then now, instead of 3 to 5 days, it's 5 to 8 days. 8 days. What happened here? So now I got to really look at what's going to be effective. UPS, FedEx, what are some other options? I can save money that way, even if you're charging shipping. People do it all the time just because you want to round up, make sure you're safe, but maybe you're shipping to a different zone. Maybe you're making a couple of bucks. It happens. Like, you charged $11.50, came out to $8, you made $3.50 in the shipping part. Sometimes things like that do happen, but shipping is going up. Let me go back to the chat. Let me see. USPS boxes, get them, that thing too, get them ordered early. I've noticed more travelers are using backpacks because they count as small personal item rather than paying for carry-on, says Armand. Let me see. Hunt for the stores that buy pallets of stuff. They're all over, but not advertised because of money. Maybe word of mouth. That's how I find them. Time to raise the prices on everything. I will save money on OnlyFans, says Steve. Hey, they're getting away from certain content, so they'll be saving money there. Can't USPS boxes or into another reseller. He hits the flip-flops before anything else. Crazy passing over money for nickels. RNJ. Rolo, says Kent. So if Nike outlets are dry, then that's why discount stores have nothing. Nike ain't giving it up. Exactly. And that's what's going to be that's why we've seen a lot of different brands come out. I mean, we've seen way more Puma than ever. Puma outlet, I have a Puma outlet, it's filled. I mean, they have plenty of items, but like Puma, we've seen a ton. Champion, we've seen a ton. Champion, we would only see mostly like at Marshall's. They did make a comeback. Even some other stores started to get Champion. They raised up the price on them, but now Ross is loaded. Under Armour, a lot more Under Armour out there. Our outlet has a ton. They look different than Nike. Nike doesn't have much. We've seen obviously the Doc Martens we talked about, and then of course all the lower end stuff that we know we're not going to pick up anyway, but they are flooding up the stores. Fila and Nautica and RBX and all of those. Yeah, 8 business days. Classic USPS always screwing us over. Where is Jake? That is a good question. This one, I don't know if this one would have been good to get Jake on for this episode. Today I got gas as Kent. Let me see. CEO needs a first class ass kicking. Let me go back on here. Saving money on OnlyFans subs. Let me go back down. Project Rock backpack still sitting, says Peter. Yeah, they're like $60. So, and a lot of people have been, passing on those. And I always charge extra for shipping, especially with eBay fees on top. And I got all my supplies for Q4 R&J. So ready to go. All right. Next, so we got those two. Number one, focus on learning new ideas, new brands. Number two, cut unnecessary cost. Number three, do not change your business philosophy. So remember what's been working for you. No need to jump ship and go all in into something else. And I'm telling you guys to learning new brands and toys, things like that, because you're gonna make the best calculated risk possible. You're gonna do the research. You're gonna look at comps. You're gonna see how much capital you have. How often are these items moving? How many items did I find? Making the right judgments on this, not just like, man, shoes are dry, Nike's dry. I'm just gonna buy all Puma. I'm just gonna buy every Under Armour I see because I want to stock up for Q4. I want to be ready. But the thing is, like, are these items going to sell? Are we double and triple checking that we're not wasting capital on things that aren't really gonna move? Also, are we not jumping ship? Let's say we get out of the whole Ross and online Ross and retail sourcing and jumping into something totally different. I'm just going to throw all my money into crypto. I'm going to throw all my money into sports cards or certain other toys, or all on, I don't know, jackets of random brands or things like that. Stick to what has been doing well for you. I know it may not all be there because it has been drier, but stick to what you know. Slowly trying new things, smart, calculated risks, like you normally would. Let me see. Always do the research. That's the key, R&J. Unless it's a new Curry's or Rock Under Armour, I'll pass. Oh, man. First year going all in on Timberland boots. Good idea. Depends on the cost. What's the cost? Brand new with or without box. Sizes as well, which brings into number four. Number four, don't be afraid to pass up an iffy buy. And yes, the articles, everything's saying we're not going to have a lot of supply. Things are going to be rough. We're not going to buy everything. And what I say is, like, don't be afraid to pass up iffy buy. Is these are the kind of questions that I'm getting in more on the DMs. And, if you don't feel comfortable with that calculated risk on a size 12 Doc Martens, then don't buy it. Just because more people on IG are buying Doc Martens doesn't mean you necessarily have to. Maybe you don't have the capital to, some are $60. Maybe you don't have the capital to go in on a lot of this. You'd rather focus on activewear and smarter buys that you think is going to help you in the business. That's fine. You don't have to, give in to extra small or extra small. Remember, we talked about some of those items that, oh man, it's too good to pass up, but it's an extra small. Is it going to move or not? We said it before too, double X, triple XL will sell probably like 3, 4, 5 times over, extra small or extra small. Those are tough. Even small I've struggled with. I have some Jordan hoodies in small. I'm like, man, not even getting any looks on these. And just keep in mind too that opportunities are going to come up, and it may not be anytime soon. Like, as far as like, oh, next week we're going to have something good, following week, but you're consistent on it. You're going to keep getting those great buys. More opportunities going to find their way up. Like Brian too, I saw Brian, he was talking about like picking up the Nike jackets, those black jackets. And some people were saying, they're super flooded. We talked about them on the live show, and it's crazy how fast, especially Nike jackets, will go once the weather starts getting cold. Right now, we're not in that. They will sell, but we're not really in that season. Fall and winter start rolling around. Jackets move quick, especially those Nike jackets. Like, those are easy money. So there's no need to rush them out right now. when you're going to triple or 4 times your money down the road once November comes around. I'll go back to the chat. Let me see. We sold a ton of Lego, Transformers, Barbies, Nerf toys 2 years ago. Shopped mainly Bargain Hunt. Board games too, Price Assassins. Yep, very true. Board games. He's already talked about the Legos. I don't even have most of my heavy Nike jackets listed yet. Josh Brown, super smart. Hold off. And when you're the last ones remaining, that's what's going to work. I think, me and Brian are talking about that. Some of the sellers were like, hey, should I list this at 59? Like the jacket's 59 or 69. No, that's way too low. Some of these jackets retail are at, 120, 180, 200. Get your money's worth, but the time may not be right now or not in that season. Selling a bunch of stuff that was oversaturated years ago for full price. Sneaker pickers. It's always when people can't find it anymore, that's when they want it. Even though it was readily available at every store, everything they saw, everywhere they went to, and I can't get it anymore. I must have it. It's crazy the way supply and demand and the way people think. I still have a bunch of Scrabble games that never sold. Fast Eddie. Were they those like higher end ones at Marshall's? I know they had those sitting there for a while too. All right, let's go to the last one, number 5. And number 5 is This Too Shall Pass. And I can guarantee you, over the last like 2 or 3 years, this is probably the lowest I've seen as far as like the seller interaction from people that I've talked to throughout the years. I don't know what some of the people, what they were doing. We were talking about reselling and growing like 3 years ago. What are they doing now? Because quite a bit of them have gotten out of it. And even before this thing happened, I mean, everything that happened last year already shut people off. It's like, I have to get a job, or maybe I'm going to be working and do this part-time, going to stores a lot less. Reselling is like now like a semi part-time hustle because things are tougher and getting tougher. So for you, if you can make it out of the toughest times and you can figure out how to put out these fires, you'll be ready for the next fire that hits you, because that's the way the business works. It's like, things are a little bit slower. Things are going to happen. Business is not going to be smooth 24/7 all the time. Man, I'm making a bunch of money, this and that. Next week, it could change. The week after that, it could change. So you always have to be ready, especially as a full-time seller, to make the necessary changes at all times. And when things do get better, though, you'll be better from that as a business owner to take on other challenges. And more than likely, too, you also have the capital to do it if you come out of this alive, I would say, and positive, and the business is still thriving. Let me see. We have to build that inventory, and of course, you'll come out on top for the Q4. Let me see. Let me go back on here. What's good? One Kick Finder. Those Ross exclusive Air Max Plus selling for big money now. Enrique. Crazy how the market changes. And let me see. Reselling is hard now compared to 3 years ago when I started. Everyone is a reseller now. Says AN. That's also a good point. Let me touch on both of those. Number 1, Ross exclusive Air Max are selling for big money now. This is true because wild how things we saw early last year, late 2019, were super flooded. Smash or pass, we would say. We'd go through them. 100 listings, 200 listings, 300 listings. If you go back and check, some of those items now, man, some are down to like less than 20 listings. And those people that are still there selling at 150, 180, they're priced high. And they're going to make their money once, you have to find that right buyer, which is good. AN reselling being hard. Now, this is true in a different aspect because not necessarily everyone is jumping into I don't know, Ross buys and going sourcing in stores and this and that. We have different types of sellers that, yes, YouTube has a part of that. TikTok, IG, all come into play because we have people opening sneaker stores, people saying how, how easy it is to flip sneakers. I can guarantee you a lot of the people that are only squarely focused on hype will not last long. Some will, a lot won't. And even looking at when you really dabble into like Supreme and other brands that were bigger in 2017, 2018, and now we're seeing like those items kind of slowly move just depending what kind of collab it is and the price and things like that. Markets change, so we got to be ready. We can clearly see Jordan 1s not moving like they used to. We saw Pollen. We saw the prices on that one. Shadow 2.0. Some of the newer Jordans compared to, like we said, it kind of switched. Like all of a sudden, Jordan 4s hitting high. Dunks obviously hitting high, but now there's so many more colors coming out. Jordan 1s were hitting high. Now look how many colors are coming out. So it kind of like, I don't know, devalues the actual model with having so many different colors because people can't keep up and they don't want to keep up. Even Coup Kicks and other sneakers, not necessarily sellers, but people that are a fan of sneakers are like, I'm not even keeping up with the updated news and what's coming out because there's too many of them. And that's where people are like, man, forget that. Like I'll only focus on the ones that I really want. I'm only gonna put in $300 for this pair because I really wanted it. And now there's so many other colors I don't care for, which is a good thing for people that really want the shoe. But also shows you how many hype beasts are out there that are only wearing what everybody else is wearing because that's what IG tells them to wear. And now when things start to kind of change, you see them move on to the next trend. And when they move on to that next trend, buying whatever trend that is, you as a seller can also capitalize by jumping ahead and having those items in inventory. Let me go back up on here to the chat and see. In what direction do you the shoe market going for Q4? Says Pacer. So I've been holding on to a lot of the retros that I have. Jordan 4s especially, just been kind of holding off. I do think that once November, December, a lot of these shoes, you can only obviously find them in store, like in sneaker boutiques and things like that. Then yeah, you can cash out and things like that. But other than that, sourcing online, brand new with or without box. But sourcing online comes with the high capital. It's going to come with that. On that topic, I noticed the low top foam posits tennis shoes are creeping up in selling prices. There were almost 700 at one point. Now there's less than 200 now. It's getting harder because of shipping issues and workers backdooring Pacers. As with any business, you have to stay on top of trends and know when a trend is dying out well ahead of these things happening. Very true. Is it too early to talk about Jordan 30 Obsidian? Fast Eddie. Let me see. I have to do the same with junkyard parts. Parts for certain cars that used to go for big money eventually die out because the cars and platforms get old and they lose popularity. Resell Freak, what up? Sneaker Flip Fine third-party stores will be empty come Q4. Supply chain issues are real. And I wonder what's going to happen. I mean, you could have a monster Q4, and then after that, what's going to happen? Let's say, I mean, my goal for sure is going to be I'm trying to sell everything else I have before I hit my retros. I want the retros to be last of the inventory. So I hope I sell as much as humanly possible for Q4. I want to get that money back, that capital. Now you have to look at what am I going to reinvest after I make this money to keep that thing going. You'll be well, with capital from all the sales, which is good, but it's got to keep growing after that. So where do you kind of go from there? Let me see. Let me go back to the sourcing online part. So in the chat, anybody sourcing online, let's say Nike.com, they do run coupons. People have been doing 15% off, 20% off, 30% off certain items. Like my example before, Vapormax Plus, you're spending 140 or 160, and then you're hoping to sell for 220 or 240, and so on. Anybody doing that right now in the chat? I want to know. And how has that been going for you? Have you found success in that? I think the model is good if you know what you're doing. And we talked about the capital. You have to know how to spend. You don't want to run out of money. And you don't also want to be charging on the credit cards and wondering, how am I going to repay this back? You also don't want to just kind of, one-offs here and there are good. You can, make your money from those buys, but you definitely want to get more volume in that game. Phil, let's see. Amazon helps with that a lot. There we go. AK Rowdy says yes. Let me see. Why do you not sell your retros on eBay? So right now I'm just holding off just because I'm waiting for them just to keep going up. Like the Fire Red 4s, I have like 120 pairs that I have no desire on selling on right now, just because I've seen it go from 285 to the 300 to the 325 to the 345. It's gonna get to the 400, and so that's why I'm trying to sell. I have a bunch of like hoodies and sweatpants, and I have some jerseys that are also coming in. That kind of stuff I want to sell before I hit the retros. The retros, I know they're gonna go up, especially the 4s. Maybe not some of the other ones like Georgetown 3s. Those could take a while. I mean, I don't know how long that would take, but luckily I have more 4s than 3s. But I just want to stay patient on the ones that I know are gonna go up. Let me see. Very easy to run out of capital, Enrique. Very true. Especially, sourcing, you're doing well, you're spending that money. You have to keep the sales coming up too, keep that money evolving, growing. When Bitcoin was down, they were all quiet. Let's see, I have just started doing a little bit of OA, says Peter. Big size everything is a hold for me. Vapormax 270s, golf, etc. Let me see. Pawn shops in my area have Nike shoes. Have you looked at pawn shops for sneakers? Yeah. So 4 years ago, there's some older videos. I used to really hit the pawn shops. My brother used to live in Austin. I used to love going to those pawn shops. Like one pawn shop had insane, like at least like 50 pairs to go through. All Jordans, higher end stuff, and some really good deals too. Of course, those mixed in some fakes. A lot of the pawn shops don't really know, just like fake shoes, fake jerseys, fake purses, fake watches. But man, El Paso, we have some just dry and random stuff that our pawn shops are pretty funny. Um, a lot of like Xbox 3, like older stuff, Xbox 360s, and computers that I'm like, man, this is tough. I really wish we had more sneakers in there, compared to the bigger cities. Dallas is another good one. Going to the pawn shops over there, I like. Let me see. If you look pawn shops under Facebook, you just have to check the profile and you'll see everything they sell. R&J, Vapormax Plus Triple Red in big sizes, selling for high 200s, low 300s. If you can pick those up online with coupons, easy money. Price Assassins. I found some dunks at the pawn shops. AN. Flex inventory on IG, like the beat. We want to see it, says Peter. Let me see. Let me go back up. We need another 50% off at Lid Store. Yeah, I remember that sale. Crazy. Remember, man, crazy sale on that. Not only that, I found some fake jersey supplier, using my video as as like their advertising. I was like, what the hell is this? If capital is not an issue, how do you balance the line between hoarding and being patient on a price? So I guess I would say depending on the product and the ROI on the products, and how many products are you actually getting in um, for that on the capital? Because some people don't mind this. I mean, some people, we've seen all sorts of business models, like people that have gotten things for cheap, not shoes, but like socks, for example. Like, let's say Nike Elite socks. People, let's say they're getting them for $2.50, flipping them on Amazon, 15 bucks, 20 bucks, 22 bucks, eBay too. Let's say you can get 500 pairs, 1,000 pairs of Nike Elite basketball socks, and capital's not an issue. Would you do it or not? In the chat, I want to know. There's no right or wrong answer, but I can tell you, you're definitely going to 8 times your money if you're getting them for $2.50. You have to ask yourself, do you also have the time and effort to either I'm going to send them off to FBA and have them individually packaged with the warning labels and whatever barcode labels I have, or I don't mind sitting here and shipping off, 20 pairs, 30 pairs of socks and on eBay and getting them out one by one and putting in the work to do it. Yeah, it's a lot of work. Like the Price Assassin said, there's a lot of work. Phil says yes. So that's why I guess it depends on the person and whatever that item is. Also, you have to ask yourself, how fast are they really going to move? But if capital's not an issue, then it may not be, you know, too bad. Depends on the sell-through rate. Exactly what we were just talking about, AK Rowdy. I would do that, says TS. Send them to FBA, easy money, reinvest the profit. So, there's different platforms to sell on, different things to try on that. Fly Kick says I would buy it. So a lot of work. Will you make your money? I'm going to say yes, just because our example is saying the sell-through rate is decent. But like AK Rowdy said, what does that sell-through rate look like? Are these people buying this product or not? Or is it an item that's going to sit there? All right, so let me go back to what we had. So 5 tips on growing your business during uncertain times. Focus on learning, trying the new ideas, new brands. Number 2, cut unnecessary cost. We talked about gas. We talked about supplies. Talked about shipping, and how to come out on top on that, because that will change and it's coming up soon. And number 3, do not change your business philosophy. Don't go all in on something you know nothing about. Number 4, don't be afraid to pass up an iffy buy. Iffy buys are out there. It's okay to pass. I know some people are like, I just want to feel something inside because this dark, small heart hasn't picked up anything from stores. It's okay to pass. You're doing all right. And number 5, remember this too shall pass. And you're dedicated. You're going to figure out ways to put out the fire. You're going to figure out ways to grow. Hopefully before next year, we'll see some things trying to, get better in that case. But the ones that make it out alive, they figure out ways to get it done. And like I said before, I've seen, just people that I haven't talked to. I should probably double check to see what they're doing now, but obviously they haven't been sourcing and things like that like they used to. And last year that changed a lot of people and businesses, and obviously changed the channel too. I remember there was a big change for a lot of people. Weren't interested anymore in seeing like the Ross Burlington sourcing videos, because number 1, they got out of it completely. Or number 2, they got a job, or we're on lockdown, they couldn't even go to these stores. So it was like, this is unrelatable. Why am I going to go and when big time uncertain times? 80 plus watching, only 38 likes. Hit that like button. Baker Brand, appreciate that. Let me see. Picked up 4.5. Just can't sell them things. Never again. Chris smashed. I like that. I know how I feel dead inside, says Peter. Picked up a lot of dead weights and I started doing this because I felt like I needed to get something, says Intramorph. So exactly what we had talked about. Any questions, anything you want to throw into the chat, we can keep that going. Good evening, District Deals. Appreciate that. How you doing out there, District Deals? But any questions, any topics or anything you want to cover, our last 10 minutes before we go. I just kind of flew by. 50 minutes was fast, even without the B, because, we can get Pastor B going and then we're barely on topic two or something, but it went by super quick. Um, Anything else I can think of at the top of my mind? I'm trying to think of any big time changes, but everything's been kind of consistent so far. I mean, the sales have been all right, maybe a little bit down than normal, but nothing to complain about. Let me see the new. Excited for any releases? Zapatos, I think. Hmm. I mean, the patent ones, Chicago ones, and Cool Gray, I think are our last two for the year. They're gonna make an impact. Everything else is kind of like, I think, sprinkled in between that may or may not do well. I mean, the sneaker thing is iffy on some of these things. Let me see. The new restock limit screwed so many sellers. Do you go to your Nike outlet any time of the day? So I think the morning is the best time to go. So I might be able to get a Nike outlet video to show you guys how dry it is. But I was talking to another reseller, and he had gone out to Phoenix. He had gone out to some of the California stores, made his way around to different stores outside of the El Paso store. And he was like, it's the exact same thing. Really dry. A lot of the past season clothing they've been bringing out, shoe wise, though, dry. And people have asked me too, why aren't you out there, out hustled, trying to find things, this and that? For me, I know it's dry. The other main sellers that are out there, I mean, imagine if Big Money Mo was in, what was he finding in 2018, 2019 compared to what he's finding now? This is probably nothing compared to the damage he could do back then, because even though he's finding good stuff now, that's still dry compared to what it has been before. So there's just no point of trying to force the issue and getting out there when I know the supply chain is dry. Nothing to necessarily do with just my El Paso store. It's everywhere. But yeah, of course I want to get out there, and then hopefully by early next year we start getting more stuff and more stores are getting items. But like we said, no point to force the issue on that. Let me see, Glenn, in the past, you've said in your area is dead, drive out further to new areas. At what point do you determine it's not worth the gas/time to keep trying? So that's a good question, in Chamorph. So in the past, when it is dry, usually in the areas, that's how Ross and Burlington kind of work. Like you would see when they would get a supply, or see when they would get trucks, see when they would get new items, and a lot of the other stores would get them at that same time. And so it's like, man, this store was hot. They got some stuff. You can call other stores. And that's also a thing too. You don't have to necessarily drive out there, but what I would do is like taking photos, go to the Nike outlet, taking photos. And I would have all the photos there, and I would ask them for like a specific shoe. Hey, are you guys running the back wall sale today? No back wall sale. Okay, I know I don't have to drive out there. Even some of the out hustles were based around some of these outlets, that they were going to have a sale or not. Of course, we knew Friends and Family was coming up, or MVP Pass, we could use them, but we wouldn't want to go travel when there was no sale at all. It just wouldn't make sense. And seeing the prices still be, sky high. So calling before, you could even call the Rosses, call Burlington. You guys get a truck today? You guys get, you may not get the answer you want. Maybe you have to call a couple of times to get someone that's actually going to help you. Some people may not care, but at least you can give it that shot to know, like, hey, do I really have to drive out there and make that extra effort? But it's a lot easier with outlet stores because they know what they have specifically compared to Ross and things like that, because they get bundles of stuff. Will there be another Out Hustled? Yes, but I don't know when. And we were planning to 2020. We were planning like a whole set of where we were gonna go. Me and the B did meet in Phoenix, and to get everything planned out. And then that's when everything hit. And it was what it is, what it is. Let me see. Let me go back. I can't even find one item to tag you on. Prices had. There's no point in even going to some of these stores. Feels like I'm wasting time. Exactly, and that's why it's good to take the photos, know what the stores have, call if you need to. Um, we talked about that too. Watching videos, IG, YouTube, TikToks, whoever's filming stuff in their area. What do they have? And if it's similar items or dry, you know too where it is, kind of like in different cities. Been in an area with a Nike clearance store for a month. They have some decent stuff out here in Dallas. There we go, Fly Kicks. Is this the driest it's ever been? I would probably say it's the longest, dry season we've been in. Because we've seen drier to where like are they even getting anything at all? But in this case, it's been, month. It's been really dragging out. That's the longest we've seen it drag. They will get annoyed if you call every day. Let me see. How much pre-owned stuff these days? How much? Oh, do you sell much pre-owned stuff these days? Not exactly. Still, most of my inventory is brand new with tags for the most part. There you go, Chris. I'm in Phoenix. Also, recently found out if you are old or have an older person with you at Ross on Tuesday, you get 10% off your purchase. Yep, every Tuesday. If you go out hustled this year, you will get out hustled for sure. I've talked to several employees in several stores. They all seem kind of clueless as to stocking times or days, or if they get any nicer Nikes, etc. Let me see. We have to critically think why it's dry. And even talking to the usual Nike outlet workers that I talked to on Friday, they were like, I mean, they've never seen it like this. I've never seen it like this. And they were kind of confused to where they have no clue what's going to happen next couple of months because this is bad. I really want to get a video in to see, or at least to show you guys, but maybe your outlet is already like that. So that would be nothing new in this case. They've been hitting up Plato's Closet a lot more, Broadway B, which means we need more Jake videos. We need more Plato's Jake videos, period. Where is this guy? Went sourcing while I was on vacation and found so much at Thrift and Nike Factory, nothing at Ross. So select goods. Making sure you source out there, see what's working for you. And some thrifts have been better. $2, Baker Brand. Thank you to everyone that hit that like button. Thanks for that, Baker Brand. $2 on the super chat. It's due to supply chain constraints, all levels due to, which we know, which I think a lot of people were hoping, especially when we first saw the articles that shipments were going to be delayed, that by this time, I think by like March, we were hoping that like, hey, it should start picking up. It hasn't yet. It's not like Nike isn't putting out a ton of stuff still. So where are other items that don't sell going to? Well, that's the thing though, is that my Nike outlet especially, haven't been putting out anything new. They've been holding on to a lot of the same shoes that I've been seeing since late January, February. Like they're holding on to it. And that's why they haven't been running any sales. If they ran a sale, extra 20% off, 30% off, then they're going to run out of inventory and they're like, well, what are we going to put in? Because we don't have much to fill up these racks. You don't want to imagine a business, which Nike Outlet is doing right now, not filling up their store full capacity, even though they have the room for it. They have the racks, they have the full wall, the back wall, the aisles. They're not even using the space that they're renting out from these outlet malls to full capacity. They don't want that to happen. They don't want to be running at 30%, 50%. Some outlets even worse than mine that people have been sending on IG. And I'm like, Are you serious right now? That's all they have? So yeah, they don't want it to run it like that. Vietnam factories are still shut down too. That's very true. That was also what we read today. Domino effect. China port still closed. Huge port. Exactly. That was also one of the main ones. And man, it's gonna affect everything. And we're gonna see more and more as the months go on. So um, get your inventory up and stay patient also on the sales. Like we said, some of the high-end jackets, I mean, you guys have been tagging me, finding those high-end Nike jackets at Ross. Some people getting good amount too. 10 in one day or 12 in one day. You know, like I think Josh said, I'm not even listing them yet. I think that's good. Hold off. You're gonna make your money once it starts getting colder. Let me see. Sneaker.com, they have rejected your shoes. Their reasons seem to be very vague. Cardigan mode. I haven't seen that. I guess for SneakerCon. Intramorph. What I mean is Nike is still releasing lots of new general release products. Very true. Through their own site. Um, shouldn't there be a bunch of unsold inventory they need to get rid of? It should be, but maybe I guess they're holding on to that too. I've been seeing some hoodies on there on the Nike site, like 40% off, 50% off, and they're still not moving. So I don't know what they're holding on to. You would think that maybe they would trickle her down to the outlets, but I don't know. And that is a good question for Intramorph. All right, we are done. We're an hour in. Hopefully the B will be in on Wednesday, and we can get more of his insight on this. We have to bring Jake on soon. And anything else you want to throw on? Send me a DM or email. We can definitely talk about that on Wednesday. Tomorrow, Thrifty Tuesday, and wear anything and anything Kobe. Everything and anything. 8/24 tomorrow. All right. So appreciate everybody dropping in, listening, and getting also your take on what's going on. So thanks for that, guys. See you tomorrow, Thrifty Tuesday.